Welcome back. Today, we're going to unravel this wild chain reaction that starts with a huge breakthrough in AI and, believe it or not, ends with you having to pay for a graphics card what you might for a used car. So let's dive right in. So let's just start with the question that's on every PC builder's mind right now. If you're into gaming or you're a creative pro, you've seen the prices, and they are getting, well, they're getting insane. We're going to connect all the dots for you and show you exactly why building a new high-end PC in 2026 feels less like a fun hobby and more like taking out a small loan. And here's the thing. You might be thinking, oh, I've heard this story before. It's crypto miners, it's supply chains. But nope, that's not it. The real reason, the actual root cause of all this pain in your wallet, it starts somewhere completely different in the tech world. Okay, our story begins with the very first domino. This was a massive, game-changing leap forward in artificial intelligence, and it was unleashed on all of us back on February 9th, 2026. This is the one concept you absolutely have to get: Agentic AI. See, when AI.com launched, it wasn't just another chatbot you ask questions to. This new kind of AI can actually do things for you. It takes action. It went from a passive little helper to an active agent that gets stuff done. And that, right there, changed everything. So what are we talking about here, really? Well, imagine telling your computer, hey, sort through my emails and set up a meeting with Sarah for next week. And it just does it. It can finish your online shopping for you. You just have to give it the final nod. For coders out there, it can manage huge, complex programming projects. And the craziest part? You don't need to write a single line of code. You just talk to it. This wasn't just an update. It was a whole new ballgame. And, as you can imagine, that huge leap in tech immediately set off a financial gold rush like we've never seen before. The biggest tech companies on the planet looked at this, saw the future, and basically decided they had to own it. And they didn't care what it cost. $600 billion. I mean, just let that sink in. That is the almost unbelievable amount of cash that just 4 companies, we're talking Amazon, Microsoft, Google's parent Alphabet, and Meta, are pouring into building their AI infrastructure this year alone. But it's not just how big that number is, it's how fast it got there. That $600 billion is a 75 to 80% jump in spending in just 1 year. You can imagine what that does. It's created this bottomless hunger for the one thing all this AI needs to run: super powerful computer chips. And just like that, a global resource war kicked off. And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. It's just simple, brutal economics. When a big tech company can make 10 times more money off a single GPU in their data center than the chipmaker can by selling it to you for your gaming rig, well, guess who gets first dibs? The corporate market is just pricing the rest of us completely out of the game. But look, this isn't just some abstract fight between giant corporations. This wall of money has a very real consequence that hits you directly in the wallet if you're trying to buy some new gear. And this is it. This is the result. The actual price you'd have to pay on the street for NVIDIA's brand new flagship card, the RTX 5090, is somewhere around $5,000. Yeah, 5,000. And the reason why is a classic supply and demand problem. The super-fast GDDR7 memory and other key chips that make a gaming card so powerful are the exact same parts these AI giants need for their data centers. So they just went ahead and bought up a huge chunk of the world's supply in advance, leaving pretty much only the scraps for the consumer market. This chart right here tells the entire story. Let's just walk through it. Yeah, okay. The new 5090 is definitely better than the 4090. The specs are a nice jump up. And NVIDIA's suggested price, the MSRP, also jumped up to about $2,500. But that's not the real story, is it? Look at that last row. The actual price you pay has exploded from about $1,800 to that $5,000 nightmare. That huge gap, that's not about better performance. That's the AI tax. That's the price of the gold rush. So, what happens when high-end PC gaming suddenly becomes a luxury sport for the super rich? Well, the entire multi-billion-dollar gaming industry has to make a massive pivot. And for a lot of companies, this isn't just about adapting, it's about basic survival. So the strategy becomes pretty clear, right? If your customers can't afford the high-end hardware anymore, you've got 2 choices. Either you find a way to make cheaper hardware for them, or you make your games and services so amazing that it doesn't even matter what device they're playing on. And that leads us to the new war zone, handheld gaming.
In one corner, you've got Intel, betting on raw power with their new super efficient Panther Lake chips. They want to power a whole new generation of PC-style handhelds. In the other corner, you've got Sony, who's rumored to be working on a PS6 handheld. Their bet isn't on power, it's on their killer library of exclusive PlayStation games. It is the classic showdown, hardware versus software.
And then there's Microsoft. They're playing an entirely different game. They're basically just sidestepping the whole hardware fight by going all in on content. I mean, look at their 2026 Game Pass lineup. A new Forza, a full remake of the original Halo, the long-awaited Fable, and a new Gears of War. Their plan is to make Game Pass so good, so essential, that you'll want it no matter what screen you're using. But this AI earthquake isn't just shaking up the gaming world. Oh no, the ripple effects are spreading out everywhere, completely reshaping other industries and even changing who holds the power on the global tech stage. Take cybersecurity, for instance. Hackers are starting to use AI to launch these incredibly sophisticated attacks, and the old ways of defending against them just aren't cutting it. The result? A huge shift in spending. A full 80% of security chiefs are now pulling money away from their old methods and pouring it into AI-powered defense systems just to have a fighting chance. And it's not just industries, it's geography. For decades, Silicon Valley was the center of the universe. But that's starting to change. You've got challengers like Broadcom making custom chips for Google, eating into NVIDIA's market. And at the same time, you have whole new power centers popping up, like a billion-dollar deal between the UAE and Vietnam to create a new AI hub, thousands of miles away from California. When you boil it all down, everything we've talked about comes back to this one central problem: finding the right balance between cost and capability. From the CEOs figuring out where to invest billions, all the way down to you, just wondering if you can afford a new PC part. Everyone is wrestling with this exact same challenge. And that kind of leaves us with one last big, fascinating question. We're walking into a future where an incredibly powerful AI assistant is basically free, but the hardware you need for fun, for creativity, for gaming has become a luxury item. What does that trade-off really tell us about where technology is headed and what we're starting to value most?